I had to use two words. It would be persistence and thinking ahead. Uh, I was told no everywhere. Every time I've gone for new strategy, they told me it's not possible. So I was a computer scientist, undergrad, and I wanted to go to investment banking. And they said, sorry, every time I apply a resume, it would end up in the IT department. And here's a thing from Goldman Sachs. I'm like, thank you, I want to be at this over here. And took a lot of banging my head against the wall, but you're persistent and you show confidence. So I told them I have never taken an accounting course, but I was a valedictorian and I graduated in 3 years. So I said, I'll learn it. I'll pick it up. And they bought it and it worked, and became youngest associate on Wall Street. And I went through the ranks and became 6 years doing great. Wanted to get into private equity, but I didn't think long term then. I just thought, hey, after 6 years, I didn't like the 120 hours a week. It was really tough. I like the private equity where you're actually managing and you're the one with the money, so you can sit back and other people do the work, as opposed to you're always trying to be in the sell side. And I like the skills that you're working with it as well in private equity. I was told you couldn't because in private equity, at least at the time, they wanted people with 2 to 3 years at investment banking. Then you go something called pre-MBA private equity. Then you have your top 5 MBA firm. Then post-MBA private equity. Well, I had 6 years, so sorry. They said you missed it. You already have. They wanted 3 years. You have 6. You can't do it. Okay, I'll do the post-MBA. Sorry, you don't need private equity experience. I'm like, it's one of those catch-22s, and I said, it's like, you failed in life, you can't become private equity. And I said, that's not happening. So I sent out over 1,000 emails before LinkedIn and got over 110 information sessions. And I talked to them, and at first, I didn't even know what just learning about the process, like what would you want? And it turns out that the diligence process they wanted, the apprenticeship that they're talking about, it really was a lot of legal. You do with merger agreements and debt covenants and employment. So I said, well, if I got my law degree, would that be enough? That's overkill, but you still can't do it. Why not? You just can't. Well, I figured out a lot of tax, a lot of accounting. All right, if I got my master in accounts, that'd be enough? Yeah, but you don't have this, you're still up here, you need like operations. Well, if I got an MBA, well, that's close. Yeah, you get those, and you come back to us. So that's what I did.
How old are you again?
35. So I took off. In 2 years, I got a full scholarship to law school, completed within 2 years versus the usual 3. Did that during the day, got my master in accountancy at Baruch. At night, graduated valedictorian. Finished up my CFA during that time period, and served 2 semesters in the federal bankruptcy court, because in private equity, you're doing a lot of leverage. You want to know why companies get into bankruptcy, as well as how to prevent it, as well as when you're in there, how do you make sure you're protected? By the way, bankruptcy court, if you ever want, it's like soap operas in reality, except for people, and like 2 people getting divorced, it's like 20 people. And you know it's going to go bad, and you're waiting for it. You see, because you know it's in bankruptcy, so you know how it ends. It's this tragedy, and you're waiting, like, then this character comes in, you're like, that's the bad guy. And then, yes. But anyway, it's a very interesting process. So from there, I had a plethora of private equity offers, and I helped launch Macquarie Capital's $1 billion fund. And while I was doing that, I also got into Wharton Business School, so I did 80 hours a week managing companies and buying companies half the time and managing other companies, such as Smart Cart, those trolleys at the airport. You put your luggage on, and they also have the largest locker system, and managing charter jet companies. And then the weekends did my MBA at Wharton Business School. I got full scholarship, and then the New York City Marathon, triathlon, trying to keep it all right there. But that's what it's like you can make it happen. It's all about, again, persistence. And so back when I was like, here's what I need to do, I knew I wasn't going to get a job right there, but I kept in touch with people. And I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. And they remember you, because then you come back and you do it. So never take no for an answer. But also think ahead, like, are you going to private equity? Do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy hedge funds? Do you enjoy funds? What is it? So make sure you do your diligence, and then think about where you want to be in 5 years, or where I want to be in 3 to 5 years. What are the skills that are needed? Because don't worry about the salary jump next year or 2 years. Think about where you want to be. Will that next job or 2 give you that thing that you're missing? And that's sort of the advice I can give.